Hello, I'm Michelle Kazanjian, Director of Ministry at St. Thomas Church. And today I'm speaking to Claudia, Elli, who is a member of our parish. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, Michelle.
How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Claudia is a dear friend of mine. She is a rather new Catholic, or revert, I should say, to the Catholic Church. And she jumped in with both feet. She's very involved, so you may have seen her as a greeter, as a Eucharistic minister, participating in Alpha or the Bible studies. However, today I'd like to talk to Claudia about something that she started herself here at St. Thomas, which is a book study on Dante. Claudia, as you might guess, is Italian, and she has a great love for Dante. So, Claudia, why don't you tell us a little bit about your book study, why you started it, and what you do?
Well, I had this passion for Dante since I was in Italy, and then when we came here, I tried in Princeton, where we were the first 8 years, to enter the university, but obviously it was kind of difficult, very different from Italian university. And then I tried here in Michigan, and also here it was not easy to enter university just for one interest and not doing a real program. And so the professor of Italian told me, well, if you like Dante, why you don't come to my lesson? And I realized that I could be an auditor, and I started to auditing, and it lasted for 6 years until she left the university and went to NYU. And so for 6 years, I followed her studies, and I kind of really fell even more in love with Dante. And meanwhile, I became Catholic. Before I was not. I was like New Agey. My family didn't believe anything, and so I was so fulfilling to meet Dante and the Bible together. I have to thank Ann Arbor for that, and God, of course. But I mean, Ann Arbor was the propellers, so I kept studying every year. Practically, I reread the whole Divine Comedy, and but by myself is kind of boring. And speaking with Michelle one day, she said, "Why you don't try to have a group? Maybe it's interesting, and you want to read it from a point of view of the Bible, because this is the point. Dante wrote the Divine Comedy because it was a mission given to him by God to evangelize. So this part is not almost never enhanced in the academic studies. And therefore, there was a good reason to do that. And so I tried, and I think 9 people showed up, and we started, but it was already COVID time, and was amazing. It was a kind of for everybody, was very good because we had something to do. And so we went through Inferno and then Purgatory, and then now we are reading Paradiso, which is actually really a blast. Is the third is the one that people know less, and it's very difficult theologically, apparently. But then when you start and you go in and you have a kind of a knowledge of the Bible, and I built up this knowledge here because, thank the Lord, St. Thomas, we had this course about the Bible that started 5 years ago with the Ascension Press, and I jumped in because I felt this lackness. I never read the Bible with an academic look at it, and instead it was a Christian look at it, obviously, and my heart became, I was enamored of what I was reading. It was a completely different way to read. And now I'm reading Dante as the Bible, not that he is the Bible, but with the same technique, searching for God. And I think is really great. Now with Paradiso, we are only, I think is a good number. We are 4. And we liked it very much. I think people is happy to read it. I always pray that God give me the right words. Sometimes I make a mistake, like last time I did a mistake about the immortality of the body, and people corrected me, and that was good. It was a good growing. So this is the story.
Well, you're a perfect teacher. You're learning along with your students.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for I don't know. I don't want to assume everyone out there knows exactly who Dante is and what the Divine Comedy is. So tell us just a very small, short, Dante is who and what is the Divine Comedy all about?
Yeah, right. Sorry about that. It's like presenting a
Well,
friend.
it's very well known, so I'm sure most, many people do know, but, just in case.
Yeah, so Dante is a writer. He lived in 1300 in Italy, in Florence. Actually, he was exiled from Florence for political reason, and he is the creator of the Italian language, because Italian language is the only language that is not born out of use practically. He wrote this Divine Comedy, which is 14,246, if I remember well, rhymes, so lines with rhymes, and a particular rhyme. And he wrote this book in Florentine dialect. Italy is divided in local dialect, and the dialect became immediately very famous and became the standard language for Italy. Practically the Italian that we use today was built on a book, which is unusual, very unique. So he wrote this book because he says in the book he had a vision. Actually, he really personally did what St. Paul did, went to heaven and came back, going through Inferno and Purgatorio. And then
I did not know that. So he says his book is based on a vision like many of the saints.
He that he is a scribe of God, and during the Commedia you read that multiple times he is given the mission to write a book and come back. I mean, come back and write a book. So he doesn't speak of a vision. He actually speaks at the beginning of Inferno. He tells, "I'm not Paul," trying to convince his guide that he not Paul, and so he cannot go up the heaven. And the guide, which is Virgil, a pagan writer, tells him, are you just overcome by cowardice in this moment? And he feels very ashamed, and therefore he changes idea and say, okay, I'm gonna come following you. And that starts the trip in a certain way. But then later on, Paul is recalled several times, and is a technique that he used to show us Dante is us. So I feel I'm not Paul. Who feels like Paul? Oh my gosh, Paul is such an apostle. And so I feel like not Paul, but then I can go there where Paul went. If I want, if I accept the guidance of the people that God gives me. And so I think it's so great. It's like the Bible is a universal story that speaks about politics, speaks about a lot of things, but also is the story of us. I am when I walk through his book, like I am Moses or Isaac or Abraham or Rahab or any character in the Bible in my life. And so for me it was a discovery on top of the academic. We can read Dante in a different way. It's so beautiful, especially because
I really like the way you compared it to reading the Bible. And so maybe we'll kind of move into the final part of the interview. But what you said was, you read it as you read the Bible, meaning in the same way, that same technique as you read the Bible, which is to search for God. And I think that's such a beautiful description of how you can get the most out of Dante, but also, of course, how much you get the most out of the Bible. Because to study the Bible academically is one thing, but to search for God in the Bible and find yourself in the Bible, like you just said, that's something much deeper. So, of course, this is the year of the Bible. And I've been asking all of our guests on this short interview to share a significant Bible passage in their life. So what have you brought for us today, Claudia?
Well, I don't have a specific Bible passage. I used many when I'm sad, tired, depressed, or happy, or thankful, grateful. The thing that recently, well, not really recently, actually, I don't have memory. This is my huge problem. I don't have any memory. I forget things immediately. I have a little thing, like a credit card, and I write down things that I like. So when we read James with the Ascension Bible study with Mary Collins, and I was impressed about the practicity of James. He's so on.
The practicalness. I guess there's not really an English word for that.
Yeah.
Yes, the practicalness of James.
Yeah, practicalness of James.
And I don't know. There must be a word.
Probably we can invent. Dante invents.
Yeah, that's right.
We can do that. And so there are words for every.
Practicality. There is a word. Okay.
Thank
there
you.
you go.
So the practicality of James. And so I have James reduced in few lines, which I recall myself almost every day because they are so practical that they help me go through the day. And then, well, at the beginning, I have the beginning, and I have on one side the beginning of Genesis, and the other side the beginning of St. John, and therefore fundamental. I can spend hours on this to meditate. And recently, we have amazing priests in this church. I don't know wherever else they have priests like that. And so both Father Bill and Father Gerald spoke about the Genesis because yesterday and 2 days ago was about Genesis right at the beginning, and both said things that I added to my other booklet, which is the comments and the meditation on it. And because they were so blowing mind, but the beginning is really for me fundamental because when I read it, the beginning of the Old Testament gives me a picture of the Old Testament. There is this emptiness. The writer, I think about the writer. The writer must have been scared to write that. It was something so big. The creation of the universe. I mean, the creation of everything. And so there is this feeling of trembling gratefulness, but trembling because there is something so big that you cannot contain in your heart, in your head. And then the beginning of John is for me joy. In the beginning, in the Old Testament, God created the heavens and the earth. This is so big. This is big. And then the earth was formless and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was moving over the face of the water. So there is this chaos that must be put in order, and God is order. And then you go to the beginning of John. In the beginning was the Word. Oh, okay, the old beginning is telling us, John, the old beginning is amazing. But, I know the Word. I met him and I walked with him. And so here I am. And you can do the same. And then the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and he was in the beginning with God. So there is all this presence of the Word. And we know the Word. The Word was on earth. It's so close to us. And so you put them together, and you have this sense of amazing joy that we can have every single minute of our life because Jesus came. It's so important. While the writer of the Old Testament was overwhelmed, maybe he was not. Maybe he was a great guy like that. But I mean, I feel overwhelmed by the beginning of Genesis. While I feel overwhelmed in a theological sense by John, but I feel also carried and grateful and happy that I'm BC. No, sorry, that I'm AD after Christ. So after his birth. So that's my take.
That's beautiful, Claudia. So you're, I never thought about that before, but you're putting those two things together, as many theologians have done, what I'm hearing you say is that, you know, the beginning is so huge and majestic and mysterious, but in a sense, kind of removed from us, somewhat impersonal. Whereas then John sheds the light of the gospel on that and says, yes, but Jesus was there. You know, Jesus was there even in the beginning, and he came to reveal God to us and bring God close to us, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Perfectly.
beautiful, very beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing today, Claudia. It's been great to chat with you, and I look forward to seeing you around everywhere at St. Thomas and every day. But most of all, I just really want to just say thanks for having the courage to come and talk today on the screen, be recorded, and to share what's meaningful to you in Scripture, because this is such a great year for all of us to turn to the Bible and let the Lord speak to us. So God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for organizing all the Bible studies.
Oh yeah, organize the whole Bible. No, the Bible studies.
No, the Bible studies, very important.
All right. God bless you, Claudia. Bye.